Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Beastly Eel, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 6 episodes or mini episodes of Tales of the Underworld. So there were two main stories being talked about. Ventress was the first three, and then it was Cad Bane for the second three. So one of the big things here is we start off the Ventress one right at the end of the novel, where they put her into the lake of her ancestors, and I can't think of his name. Quan Jin. No, I'm saying the wrong name. But anyway, the one that was her lover in the novels, um, and Obi-Wan had let her go into the little cave water, little lake of her ancestors. Um, and then So then it goes off to the thing where now her ancestors are giving her a choice of being dead or allowing her to come back, but she loses the one thing she loves most, which is him. And she agrees to step out of there. And when she does, she's got her human form back, or her mortal form, whatever you want to call it. But it seems like significant amount of time had passed, and it's unclear of exactly how much. So when she's back, she's now who knows how many years later, and she starts going around being a mercenary again. That's when she bumps into, or that's where she starts her new life, and she gets out of the mercenary business, it seems like, and gets like a real job. And what she does there is she's basically a bodyguard, which is weird to me to think about. And then they're dealing with the Empire as well, because apparently they still exist, so the Empire has not been taken down yet, which I find to be interesting. She then bumps into a little Jedi boy, who she then helps to try to get him to the place where her ex-lover um, has created for safe haven for Jedi. So she helps this kid significantly, and pretty much does a big adventure with him, in that sense. So she then fights an Inquisitor with the kid, and they technically the kid kills him, but she definitely held her own significantly so. Um, and then she then get like I said. So then they go to another planet where they're trying to find this location. They then have to deal with the locals of these like lizard type creatures who are pissed off that their water was taken, and then she tries to create peace between them, and actually does a decent job with the help of the Jedi boy. They then get taken to the place on where the path is, and she takes him to the ship. Well, she takes him to where he sees the ship. She then tells him to be free. He leaves, the ship takes off. She's assuming he's on the ship, and it turns out he isn't, and he jumps on the creature's back that's very similar to a camel, and the two of them take off together, assuming to continue their adventures together. And that was Ventress's. So Cad Bane, we get a good lump of his story of him being a child. So apparently on his home planet, he was a street rat, um, with his best friend. They had no home, no nothing, and they kind of just lived off the street, eating out of trash and everything else. Well, then there's this guy who looks exactly like Cad Bane, I would imagine, with the hat and everything else, and convinces the kids to do something for him. He gives them a gold coin and gets them to do what he wants. Then he has them come back and give him more to distract the owner of this business, who they know is a shady businessman, most likely a gang member, and they're offered a lot more. So they do that. They get to run away. However, Cad Bane's friend gets taken by the police, and Cad Bane makes it to the ship, where his new boss is, and he begins to live his life that way. So the next episode is when he's, I would want to say, a teenager, and he finds out that the leader of his gang is killed by a marshal, and he goes in for revenge, and he's getting ready to face his old friend who's also a police officer now. And he decides not to shoot him, but he gets arrested anyway, and gets taken out of there. We also find out that his Cad Bane's girlfriend then hooks up with his best friend. So this Cad Bane's in prison for a while. He then gets out on a technicality, comes back to the planet to seek his revenge. What he finds out is his ex-lover is dead, and that his friend was the one that's been hooking up with her ever since he had left, and he was not happy about that ever. So that was one of the big things there. They then have this massive blowout in front of the store, and the guy's killed in front of his best friend's killed in front of his own kid. However, what he finds out is his best friend tells him that his son was never his son; it was Cad Bane's son, and that's when one of the other locals grabs the kid and says, "You stay away from him." And one of the big things there is it just showed that Cad Bane, as a child, realized what was going on and then just leaves. And so we get to find out more of like how he was seeking revenge, 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 and then he finally got it and realized that he lost one of the only things he didn't even know he had, which was his child, who didn't want anything to do with him after that. And that's the end of his story, which I thought was kind of cool. The one thing we didn't learn was how he gets the breathing apparatus around him, because I was very curious about that. But that being said, overall, I thought these were great. I personally like the Cad Bane story better than the Ventress one, but that's just a personal opinion. They both were good. But overall, let me know what you guys thought about the Tales of the Underworld down in the comments below. And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is Beastly Eels signing out. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.